What is up, guys? Digital VFX here once again, and today I have another video because of my last video. I suggested what people wanted me to do, and a lot of people suggested songs from scratch, and I've been making a lot of music lately, so I figured why not just start a song and film where it goes. So I think this is going to be Melbourne, at least that's where I want it to go. That's normally not how my songs end up, like what I want them to be. They kind of just shift, which is perfectly fine because I like to see where it goes. Kind of like Gypsy, it started off as like a really kind of heavy rock type thing, and then I kind of shifted towards Melbourne by adding like a bouncy bass, but it had like triplets in it. I don't know, it was kind of different, which is why I liked it. So let's see where this goes. So I mean, it's been some time since I've actually made a real FL Studio video, so should be interesting. I don't remember where a lot of my favorite sounds were, but I don't think it should be a problem. I have enough packs. And also, a lot of people are asking me where I get all my packs. You can find them anywhere online. A lot of people have packs. You can buy them on different websites. Just Google like production packs or production sample packs, and I'm sure there may not be amazing ones for free, but if you're just getting started and you want to just make some music, there are ones that have good enough sounds in them and good enough samples that you can just get started for now. But obviously over the years, since I've been producing for like 6 years, I believe, I have a lot of sounds over here. And for those of you regular watchers, you might notice the screen's a little bit bigger because I did buy 2 new monitors. They're 22-inch monitors, and they're very nice. Although I can only record on one, so that's why you can only see one. Alright, so where do I want to start? Electro Essentials. Let's not. And like packs like these, kind of another tangent. This is the Maniac Warped Tour Pack 3 from Maniac Agenda. You can follow them on Facebook. I think it's just the Maniac Agenda, and they post a lot of free production packs if you go and like vote for their song, because they enter a lot of contests. So that's another way to get like free samples and stuff. And they're actually really good quality samples, and I am not getting paid to promote their page. Alright, so what I look for first in the beginning kick is for the intro, you want a kick that has kind of a nice top kick sound. I don't normally layer kicks for the intro because there doesn't need to be too much bass, so I kind of use a top heavy kick and just kind of cut out the bass, and it sounds pretty good. So I'm just going to add that to the mixer. Throw a parametric EQ and maybe a Maximus. And the reason why I stopped using Maximus for a while is because I thought, like most plugins, when you add it to the mixer in the channel over here, it would automatically fix it, and I didn't know that that wasn't the default until I found this, and this doesn't do anything to the sound. It when you add it regularly, it automatically starts to try to master it for you, and I don't want that, which is why I stopped using, because I thought it was kind of pointless, because then you'd have to like undo what they did for you, and it would be hard to like see what they did. So if you go to default, then it's nice, because then you can just do whatever you want to do without it like fixing it for you. So let's get the kick. Go to Maximus. Alright, so let's add that kick. Another thing I like to do is you can find free loops. Those are easy if you don't like to make huge drum loops. I'm not a huge fan of making drum loops. I'll only make them if I need to, if I can't find a loop that fits. But most of the time, they have a lot of loops that are just pretty much hi-hats and snares. Sometimes not even snares, sometimes just hi-hats, and they really help. They speed up the process. It's kind of hard because some of these loops in here are more housey, and housey isn't really Melbourne. That's why I kind of like to use some of these. I think I have a dubstep pack that works pretty well. Where would you be? There we go. See if you have loops 128. See, some of them are a mixture of, let's see, I can move that down to 128 first. Some of them are a mixture of kicks and snares and hi-hats, and some of them are just hi-hats, and it's just a random assortment of loops in here. I think I like this one. Kicks way down. I like this one, but what I'm gonna do, so it doesn't interfere with the kick, and so it sounds a little bit better. You can add that to the mixer and add a side chain to it. A lot of people kind of question why I use gross beat, because I used to use P controller and kind of like have to manually make it, but I personally like gross beat because it's super easy, and I like the control I can have, and I don't have to add an extra layer of kicks in there as the side chain. So if I had this kick here with this, I'd also need to add another layer of kicks down here for it to side chain, which is kind of a hassle, especially when you have like a very long, complicated song and multiple synths being side chained, because you never want to have the same or a bunch of separate channels being side chained onto the same kick, because it just, I don't know. Some of you could know why. It's hard to explain. It's just so they don't all mesh together. So you want everything to be separate, and you want to have full control over everything individually. And so that's why I like this, because it's super easy and it doesn't interfere with the playlist. And I can also undo the volume here. So if I play this, whoops. We can undo that for a sec. See how that sounds. And then you can undo the volume, and it's as if the side chain didn't do anything. And you can play with that just to get the right level, which is why I like gross beat a lot. Plus, you can also do some of these like complextro type stutter effects and all these types of things. And it adds like nice effects if you're into that type of thing for a breakdown or something. So then you get that. Throw that in the playlist with the side chain, and I can also throw an EQ on that and just kind of cut off some of the extremely highs. And maybe a very, very subtle reverb. Okay, so after 16 measures right here, I'm going to add a bass but it's going to be the intro bass that has the sound of it, but not quite the bassiness. So I'm gonna kind of do a low pass filter and cut off the lower frequencies, or is that a high pass? Not really sure. If you know which one, because I know what they do, I just forget if it's cutting the lows, if it's a high pass, or if it's, you know what I mean. If you know what I'm talking about, you'll know what I mean. I forget which one is which, if it's opposite or if it actually is what its name is. So for the Melbourne bass, if you watch my Melbourne tutorial, I used Sylenth and ANA, and I believe I'm gonna do the same thing for that now. Let's see, replace that. Actually, let me replace this one. Hey. Okay, and now what I can do is add a ride, because I like adding rides on top of my kicks. It gives a nice little extra flair to it. It sounds really good. Let's add the ride. Pretty much the effects that I do on my rides are very, very subtle. Well, I should say it makes the ride very subtle. If I listen to the ride, I pretty much cut off all the lows, a little bit of the highs, lower the volume, and then just add a very slight reverb, and it sounds pretty good. Like that. So when you have the kick in, it adds a nice little flair. Even though there is a ride very faintly, if you could hear it in the drum loop, it kind of exists. The ride that I added is obviously a lot more prominent and you can hear it, but to get rid of that, if you really wanted to, you could cut the frequencies there. A way to get, or not to get around that, a way to find out exactly where to do it if you really wanted to, is add a spectrum analyzer, such as Span, and when you play this, or sorry, when you play this channel, on the spectrum analyzer, you can see right there is where the hi-hat is, which is floating around. Let's see, if you check down here, floating around 54, negative 54 decibels, or sorry, negative 52, it says up in right here. It's negative 52 decibels. And so what you could do is then go into your parametric EQ and then cut that to about 54 and the amount of hertz that it said on the spectrum analyzer. But that's just extremely fine tuning, so I don't think that's completely necessary. Most of the time you can do it pretty well by ear, especially something as subtle as a ride. Yeah, so I was gonna add the bass. I don't know which sound I like better, so I'm gonna try both of them. For this, for ANA, I would use basic bass, but of course, kind of like the G. And sometimes I think that that note's a little too long, so I like to press backspace if you're on main snap in the magnet over here. You see main, and you can press backspace and quickly go in between snap and no snap, And another thing you can do is, no matter if you're on snap or not, you can zoom in very close. Whoops. You can zoom in very close and still adjust it very fine. But if you zoom out one click, it won't let you do that. So it's only when you zoom in all the way that you can adjust the snap very finely without having to manually adjust it up here. So those are two ways to do it. And I think I'm gonna do, actually first select all of them, and then I can move that just a little. That's good. Throw that in there. Let's see, what else can I add? Wouldn't be a Melbourne track or an EDM track without a Prius snare, so why not throw one of those in? Wherever it is. Delirious. There we go. Perfect. Oh, this one's a little off too. And how I'm doing this, if you don't know, you highlight whatever selection you want to move, and you hold shift and scroll with your mouse, and that will scroll it. Fine tune as well. And another thing you can do is, if you hold your mouse over and hold shift, you can scroll and make the notes move in the actual playlist. You can make the actual notes move, but that's only for certain effects that I've found that useful for. And since this is the intro bass and I don't want to be super bassy yet, I'm going to add a parametric EQ. I'm going to cut the bass. And the Prius snare is super loud, so I'm going to cut the in and the out just a little bit. Gonna turn the reverse polarity on. Gonna do the same process as I did with the hi-hats, is add a side chain so it will not interfere with the kick. Okay, so what next? I think right here I'm going to do a breakdown. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. I think right here I'm going to do a huge build up, and then I'm going to break down and then do the melody. Oops, that. see. I really like that build up. Kind of like that fill instead of the pre-snare there. I don't even need to add things like this to the mixer, even though I did with the pre-snare, because I might do more with it later. But I like to use the in and out here to kind of adjust the volume, because that's really only thing you need to do with like fills and explosions, is adjust the volume and how hard it impacts, because that will drown out some of the sounds, because some of these sounds are just extremely loud. So you can cut that, and then you can also cut the volume down here. And another thing you may have saw me do is adjust the pitch here so it fits in here, because I believe this was a 140 BPM sample when I had used it before, and to make it fit for 128 you just need to go in here and adjust the pitch until it fits on the bars. You can see a fill is meant for the last 4 bars, and if you fit in there it just fits perfectly, and all the notes will fit on a quarter note, so it just works out that way, because that's normally what it would do if it were 140 BPM. So there's also this impact that I like right here. I like this one a lot better than this one, so I think I'm going to just make this very faint. I'm gonna add both of these to the mixer. And I'm kind of going to do the same process I did with the hi-hats and the ride. Although I didn't do it very in-depth here, I'm going to make it so this one right here is the dominant impact. And I'm going to do that by adding an EQ. Play it here. And kind of and do the same thing for the other one, but not as much. And I can add let's see, can add a fruity chorus. And sometimes with choruses, because I don't use them too much, or I don't really use the effect that loudly, I would just use a preset. You can hear it makes a subtle difference. I kind of like that one because you can barely tell, and then I'm going to turn down the volume for it. So it's just a subtle effect that just makes it sound a little bit better, but you probably can't even tell in the final mix, but it's just little things that count. And then just add another subtle reverb. I could do the same thing for this one minus the chorus, because you're not going to hear this one as much over the other one, but I will add a slight reverb. So you can add those, and you can even hear the reverb after I pause it. You can hear that very subtle reverb, and it makes a very little effect that helps out. And to solo a track, I actually just found this out. You right click on it, and because I was looking in here and I couldn't find any selection for solo, because I've been wanting to solo some tracks. So you right click and it solos and unsolos it. So that's good. And yeah, so there we have our breakdown. Let's work on the build-up, I guess. Actually, I kind of like this this effect. I'm gonna add that in the build-up. I like this sub right there. It's called a Morris effect. It's used a lot by Dioro. It's a sub in the beginning of a build-up. I guess I can take the kick out there. Let me just add that back. But I need to fix it just a little because just like the same, this is meant as a 130 BPM sample, so I just need to adjust the pitch so it can fit right there for 128. Let's see, where is it? Let me see if I can find it. Control F of lifter 128. Oh, I spelled that wrong. Control F up lifter. There we go. So there's part of a build-up, I guess. I'm gonna do the same thing with a lot of the effects. It's just add a subtle side chain, EQ it a little bit. See, what's nice about this effect is I don't need too much side chaining because it's already kind of side chained in the effect in itself. So I can do a side chain, then this is what I would use the volume for, is I kind of like and make it not as side change as the other things I would want to be drowned out. And let's see, once again, subtle reverb. I don't know why I like it, I think it sounds a little bit better. Okay, that sounds pretty good. So another thing I'm going to do for the bass is add a filter on it. I'm going to use Sugar Bytes Wow and their anti-dynamic filter because it makes a cool sound. I'm going to obviously make it subtle and not make it, because if you throw all the levels up, it sounds kind of crappy like this. Yeah. So I like to throw the overdrive a lot down, almost all the way. The mix, keep it at about, let's say, like 1 to 2 o'clock. Don't know if I really like that note anymore. Okay, it's sounding pretty good. What else can I do? I guess I'll kind of leave that for right now, and I'll work on the melody, I guess. So I'm gonna just throw that there, and go to pattern 4, and I think I added a silence. Yeah, I'll use that for the melody for right now. Let's go in here, see what they have for leads. Nope. See what note did I use? I think I used F sharp. Okay, so Getting closer. Not quite the sound I want though. I think I'm gonna stop messing with the ARPs. Although the ARPs sometimes have cool sounds, it's kind of annoying to have to go through them. Let's see. See how that sounds. So here's a good example to show how Maximus automatically tries to amplify and fix everything, which is not helpful at all. So let's see how this sounds like with with a fill, not a fill, sorry, with a loop and a kick and a ride. Alright, so that sounds pretty good. Let's see, I can add